What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel and another video. Today, I want to talk about something that I struggled with early on, and even not so much anymore, but even a year or two after that I quit drinking, I kind of struggled with. And I was expecting to be, happy or happier once I quit. I expected it just to kind of be like, okay, I quit drinking. Life is so much better. And it did get better incrementally, but and I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is they're expecting this quick fix to cut alcohol out of their life and just to, you know, next day feel so much better. And, I wish it was, but that's just not the case, unfortunately. It will get better over time, but it's going to take time. You have to remember how long you've been drinking. For me, 20 years. Looking back, it was obviously pretty ridiculous of me to think that my life was just going to instantly get better overnight. And when you have this expectation, you're setting yourself up for failure because you have this grand expectation of how just everything in life is just going to magically change. And when it doesn't, thoughts start creeping in your head. Well, why am I quitting drinking anyway? My life hasn't changed. It has. Maybe you just haven't, you're not in the right mindset quite yet to understand how it's changed. We expect outcomes at the snap of our fingers, and that's not even fast enough. And that's just the way society is today. We want everything right now, and that's still not fast enough. And you can blame that on whatever you want, social media, TV, whatever. It's easy to see these people living these amazing lives, super fit, whatever the case may be, and you're just scrolling through on your phone, but you don't see all the work that those people had to do to get there. When I talk to people about cutting alcohol out of my life, nowadays the conversation is typically, oh, I'm super proud of you. You look great. You look super happy. And I am, and I feel great. I'm definitely in the best shape of my life, but they don't see, or they didn't see, all the shit I was going through, all the negative conversations I had with myself, putting myself down, berating myself, and just the overall negativity. They don't see that. When people think of quitting alcohol, they're just like, oh, great, life is just going to be rainbows and butterflies. And again, I wish it was. That's just not the case. We have to be realistic here. The amount of years you put into or dedicated to drinking, you can't just reverse it like that. The first week you're going to be experiencing withdrawals, headaches. You're not going to be sleeping well, and it's not going to be fun. And you're going to be questioning why you quit drinking in the first place when you have to go through this type of pain. And your body and your mind are going to tell you, just, you need to relieve this pain. Just grab a drink, just one. And then you're right back to where you started. And that happened to me so many times. It was so frustrating that I couldn't just kick it. I thought, oh, cold turkey, no problem. No, that wasn't the case. So when you set these super high expectations or super high lofty goals, and don't get me wrong, it's great to have expectations, it's great to have goals, but start small. Start with things that are realistic, that are attainable, that you can accomplish relatively easy. You know, it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm never drinking again. And that may be the case. But when you're focused on a year out, 2 years out, you lose focus on what you need to do in the present moment. And that is, I need to stay sober today. I need to not give in to urges, triggers, impulses to grab a drink. If you can focus on just today and get through today, that's one day under your belt. And then you wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Each day obviously adds up over time. And each day that you progress along your sobriety journey, it gets easier. Not right away, but it will get easier. But to think that everything in your life is just going to completely flip, you know, day one, even a month in, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for a huge letdown. And when that happens, you know, when life isn't panning out exactly the way you thought it would, that's when we run back to the alcohol. It's like, well, you know, I feel a little bit better, but I'm not happy. I'm still depressed. I thought life would be different. And believe me, that's totally normal. It's completely natural to feel that way. And then doubt starts creeping in. And you're like, you know what? My life wasn't so bad when I was drinking. I'm just going to go back to that. At least I won't feel anxious. I won't feel depressed. I won't feel sad. Again, that's a trap. You're setting yourself up. The good news is, though, is once you decide to quit drinking, you're a few weeks in, a few months in, and you start to feel depressed or anxious or sad, you'll be able to look deep within and see where those feelings come from in the first place. With alcohol clouding your mind, you're not in the mindset to ask yourself these questions. You don't even want to. You don't even want to know the answers. So when you start to get clear-headed, your mind is clear, the fog has lifted, you can start to process these emotions that are causing you anxiety, that are causing you depression, and ultimately causing you to drink. Because I think it's important that we change our perception of alcohol, right? We see alcohol as a problem. Oh, he has a drinking problem. She has a drinking problem. Yeah, it is a problem. But that person doesn't see it as a problem. They see it as a solution. A solution to their problem. Is their problem that they're sad, they're lonely, they're depressed? That's the real problem. That's the root problem. And go even further. Why? Why are you depressed? Why do you feel anxious in certain situations? And when you finally kick alcohol out for good, you can start to process these emotions in a healthy, positive way. I've experienced that in my life. There's tons of things that were affecting me that I buried for years. You know, things from my childhood, things that were said to me, that at the time you don't know how to process them as a child. You're just like, okay, well, this is normal. This is just how life is. And you just bury that. And over time, you kind of forget about it. But on this healing journey, alcohol had to go in order for me to take a serious look at my life, where I am, why I am the way I am. You know, where did my behaviors come from? Where did my thought processes come from? And yeah, it's scary, it's nerve-wracking, but it's necessary. It's necessary. And none of that can happen with alcohol in your life. Because alcohol, you're numbing out your feelings, you're drowning out your emotions. And when you're in that state, you can't possibly process the trauma in your life. So again, I know it's a long road, but it's worth it. I don't regret any of the things that I did in my life. I don't regret. Like, they all helped me become who I am today, and I'm pumped with who I am today. But I had to quit drinking in order to heal, to process, and here we are. Life is good. Life has never been better. And you can have that too. You just gotta kick alcohol to the curb once and for all. All right, guys, that's enough for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one.